Red Bull was never just a drink. From the moment it entered the global market, it positioned itself as something more powerful than liquid in a can. It was confidence, ambition, alertness, speed, and edge. Its slogan, "Red Bull gives you wings," became one of the most recognizable advertising lines in history. It appeared everywhere, on billboards, television commercials, extreme sports events, college campuses, nightclubs, and racetracks. The message was simple and emotionally effective. Drink Red Bull and you will perform better than normal. You will think faster, react quicker, and push past your limits. For millions of consumers around the world, this idea became truth, not because of scientific proof, but because repetition turned belief into habit. For nearly a decade, an American consumer named Benjamin Careathers was one of those believers. Like many others, he drank Red Bull regularly, trusting that it offered something more than ordinary caffeine. He wasn't an athlete or a scientist, he was simply a customer who paid a premium price because he believed the brand's promise. Over time, however, belief slowly turned into curiosity. Benjamin began to wonder what exactly made Red Bull so special. Was it a rare ingredient, a unique formula, some advanced scientific discovery? When he finally looked closely at the product, he found something unexpected. The caffeine content in Red Bull was roughly the same as a standard cup of coffee. The other ingredients, including taurine and B vitamins, did not show clear scientific evidence of improving performance beyond normal stimulation. In simple terms, Red Bull was not meaningfully different from cheaper alternatives that offered similar effects. That realization changed everything. Benjamin felt that he hadn't just bought a drink, he had bought into an idea that may not have been true. The slogan, "gives you wings," suddenly felt less like creative marketing and more like a promise that had never been fulfilled. He didn't claim that Red Bull was dangerous or harmful. Instead, he questioned something far more threatening to a global brand: honesty. He believed that Red Bull's advertising had led consumers to think they were getting superior mental and physical benefits, even though those benefits were not supported by scientific evidence. In 2013, Benjamin Careathers filed a class action lawsuit against Red Bull in the United States. The lawsuit argued that Red Bull had violated consumer protection laws by misleading customers through its advertising. The focus was not on literal wings, but on the implied message that Red Bull significantly enhanced performance, concentration, and reaction time. According to the lawsuit, these claims were exaggerated and unsupported, yet they justified a higher price point that millions of consumers willingly paid. The case quickly gained attention because it targeted one of the most famous slogans in marketing history. Unlike many lawsuits that fade quietly, this one struck at the heart of branding itself. Red Bull responded by defending its slogan as metaphorical language, a form of exaggeration known in advertising as puffery. Their legal team argued that no reasonable person would believe the drink literally gave wings or supernatural abilities. They claimed the slogan was clearly symbolic, intended to express energy and excitement, not measurable scientific outcomes. However, the plaintiffs countered with a more subtle and dangerous argument. They said the issue was not literal interpretation, but consumer expectation. Red Bull's entire marketing strategy suggested that its product offered enhanced performance beyond ordinary caffeine. The brand used images of extreme athletes, high-risk stunts, elite competitors, and record-breaking achievements. Over time, this created a powerful impression that Red Bull was scientifically superior, not just emotionally exciting. Under U.S. advertising law, implication can be just as misleading as a direct false claim. If a company's messaging leads a reasonable consumer to believe something that is not true, it can still be considered deceptive. The court had to consider whether Red Bull's marketing caused consumers to believe they were receiving unique functional benefits. The fact that Red Bull was significantly more expensive than similar drinks strengthened the argument. People weren't just paying for taste, they were paying for perceived performance. In 2014, before the case could reach a final court judgment, Red Bull made a strategic decision. Instead of continuing a legal battle that could damage its image further, the company agreed to settle. Red Bull did not admit wrongdoing, but it agreed to pay $13 million to resolve the lawsuit. Under the settlement, consumers who had purchased Red Bull between 2002 and 2014 were eligible to receive either $10 in cash or $15 worth of Red Bull products. Millions of people qualified. The news spread quickly across media outlets worldwide, and the phrase "Red Bull doesn't give you wings" became a headline that no marketing team ever wants to see. Financially, the settlement was not devastating. Red Bull was already generating billions in annual revenue. $13 million was manageable. The real impact was reputational. For the first time, a court case forced the public to separate Red Bull's image from its actual effects. The slogan that built the brand now carried legal risk. Quietly and carefully, Red Bull began adjusting its communication strategy. The company shifted away from emphasizing functional benefits and moved further into lifestyle branding. Instead of telling consumers what the drink does, they showed what the brand represents. Red Bull invested heavily in extreme sports, music culture, media production, and global events. It sponsored Formula One racing teams, hosted cliff diving competitions, supported underground music scenes, and even sent a man to the edge of space at a record-breaking skydive. These actions didn't claim scientific benefits, they created association. Red Bull became synonymous with daring, creativity, and pushing boundaries. It stopped selling energy as a promise and started selling identity as an experience. Ironically, the lawsuit didn't hurt Red Bull's long-term success. In the years following the settlement, sales continued to grow. The controversy made the brand even more famous. Consumers didn't stop buying Red Bull, they simply stopped taking the slogan literally. The case became a powerful lesson in modern marketing and consumer psychology. It showed how belief, repetition, and emotional storytelling can build massive brands, even when the product itself is ordinary. Red Bull's legal case changed how advertisers think about language. It proved that metaphors can become liabilities and that suggestion can be legally dangerous. It reminded companies that price creates expectation and that branding carries responsibility. Most importantly, it revealed a deeper truth about business in the modern world. You don't always need innovation to dominate a market. Sometimes, all you need is a story strong enough that people stop questioning it. Red Bull never truly gave anyone wings, but it gave the world one of the clearest examples of how belief can be manufactured, challenged, and ultimately reshaped. Even in court, the brand didn't collapse, it evolved. And in doing so, it proved that while products can be tested, stories are far harder to destroy.